Traditional Chinese medicine is a vast and fascinating subject, and really we're just going to scratch the surface of it today. It's my intention to give you enough information so that you can talk sensibly about it and answer questions that your clients or friends may have while you're working on them. Also, so that you can have some idea of the sort of effect, far-reaching effect you could be having simply by working the face. We're certainly not diagnosing or treating. That's not the remit of this course at all. That's for shiatsu practitioners. But it can be fascinating to see why, have a little guess at why maybe a particular point is tender on this person on this day. So, what is a meridian? It's a line of energy that runs through the body. It can't be seen. If we dissect the body, you can't see it, but it can be proved scientifically by lowered electrical resistance on the surface of the skin where the meridian runs, and again a change in that resistance where certain points are. The energy that runs through them is called qi in Chinese, like qigong, tai chi, or ki in Japanese, like reiki. And basic meridian theory says that if the energy is flowing well through the body, flowing smoothly, we're going to be healthy. If it's blocked, stagnated, unbalanced somehow, then that is the precursor to disease. So the idea is, this is a meridian running along the body, and this is an acupressure point. It's shaped like a vase or a jar. The Japanese word for vase or jar is tsubo, and it's the same word for an acupressure point. Now, ki in the body can be influenced by all sorts of things. It can be influenced by the weather, by the seasons, by what we eat, by what we think, by stress. But of course, the body's a wonderful thing. And at these points, we can access the ki most easily. So if, for example, you have a blockage just here, by pressing on the acupressure point, this is like sending a charge of electricity through the meridian, or maybe a more useful analogy is a water pipe. So if you have a blocked water pipe, you press here, this is flushing water through the blockage and helping the energy to continue along the meridian. Now this is where, when I talk about one of the cautions for Tsuboki face massage, if somebody is particularly weak or frail, this is why you might omit this part of the massage or modify it, because you're asking the body to work. You're asking the person's ki to help to adjust their own energy. When I press here, if a person has strong ki, it may get rid of the blockage immediately. If it's weak, it might take several goes. And that might be just too exhausting for somebody who does not have a lot of energy. Now, if we're helping to get rid of this blockage here, affecting the flow of ki in the meridian after the acupressure point, it stands to reason that we're also affecting the flow of ki before the acupressure point, because there would have been a build-up, yeah? So we're helping the flow actually all the way along the meridian, no matter how long. It gets even better. If we have one meridian here, there's another meridian straight after it coming back again. And again, it makes sense that if the energy is smoothed out in this meridian, potentially it's going to have a knock-on effect to the meridian after that. And of course, the same is true of the previous meridian. And in fact, the meridians in one side of the body are completely linked up together. And so, by pressing one point on one meridian, potentially you're having an effect on the flow of ki throughout all the meridians in that side of the body. And we know this from Touch for Health, which is another therapy I've studied, that sometimes you can get just one point And by working that one point, it strengthens all of the muscles in the system. There are 14 main meridians in the body. 12 which are bilateral, meaning they're on one side but mirror image on the other side, and 2 in the centre. Now you don't need to know exactly where these meridians run, but the main thing is that the meridians that run through the face and the head run to the fingertips and they run to the toes. So you're actually, on an energetic level, you're reaching the whole body. These meridians are named after organs of the body, but as often the case in traditional Chinese medicine, we have to expand our thoughts about what this organ means. So for example, if we take the bladder meridian, so the bladder meridian, yes, it's linked kind of to the organ of the bladder, so the storage and excretion of urine, but the bladder meridian is also linked to certain tissue types in the body. It's linked to the hair, the nails, the teeth, the bones, the hard tissues. So what that means, for example, is that if your bladder energy is consistently depleted, you may find you have split ends on your hair. You may find that your nails are not very strong, that your teeth are not great, or even your bones. Also, each meridian is linked with an emotion. And again, if we take the bladder meridian, that emotion is fear. So what this means is, if your bladder energy is consistently depleted, maybe you are quite fearful, quite timid. As an extreme, that could even be phobic. There's also the flip side, that if you are in a situation which makes you fearful, that can deplete your bladder energy. Now, I don't want to get too bogged down in all of these relationships of tissue types and emotions to different meridians, so there'll be a reference for you to look at and read. But what is interesting is if we now think about yin and yang. Yin and yang are words that many of us have heard of, and we're probably also familiar with the yin-yang symbol, which shows us that although yin and yang are opposite polarities, they're also complementary to each other, and one is contained within the other. So an easy way to remember yin and yang is to think about seasons. So yin sounds like winter, and then that leaves us with yang being summer. So if we think of qualities of winter, in winter it's cold. It's also dark. Winter is damp. It's the time when the energy goes back into the earth, so it's earth energy. It's the time of year where we want to hibernate. And so the energy is a more sedating energy. Whereas in summer, hopefully it's hot. It's light. It tends to be drier. The energy is coming down from the sky. It's a time of year where we tend to be more outgoing, more active. And so the energy is more energizing. Yin is feminine energy and yang is masculine. Now, if we think about the meridians that run through the face, there are 8 of them and 7 of them are yang. So in other words, we work all the yang meridians. So coming back to the bladder meridian. So the bladder is the brother meridian. It has a sister meridian of the organ that is actually physically linked to the bladder, which is the kidney. Now we don't work the kidney meridian because it doesn't run through the face. However, we work the bladder meridian, and everything that we said about the bladder meridian is the same as the kidney meridian. So it doesn't matter that we're not working the kidney meridian. And the same is true. We work all of the yang meridians, which means we are therefore affecting all of the tissue types and we're affecting all of the emotions. So we've got the whole body covered. That's my traditional Chinese medicine in a nutshell. And there's a book on your reading list called Staying Healthy with the Seasons, which I really recommend if you want to read more about it. It's a very, very readable book. But for now, hopefully you can now have a sense of the kind of effect that you can be having on this person's health simply by working acupressure points and meridians on the face. We'll look now at benefits of Tsuboki face massage in particular. And this is also a bit of a recap. So, each meridian is linked to an emotion. If the energy is flowing well, that emotion will be stable. Each meridian is linked to a certain tissue type. So again, if the energy in that meridian is balanced, then our physical body is helped to be more healthy. By working the meridians on the face, as we know they're all the yang meridians, which means we're addressing all of the emotions and all of the tissue types. So it really is a very comprehensive massage. Also, meridians that run through the face either begin or end at the hands or the feet. So therefore, energetically, we are reaching the whole body. And this is why clients often say that this feels like a full body massage. Meridians are a continuous flow. So working just one area or one point can potentially affect the whole meridian and the whole system. And then there's no strain on the therapist, at least there shouldn't be if you're sitting well and using nice fluid posture. So paradoxes of Tsuboki face massage. So it's very accessible. There's little or no undressing. So very little embarrassment to the client because our faces are shown all the time. And yet, who would normally touch your face? It usually would be somebody very close to you. And so Tsuboki face massage has this wonderful nurturing quality to it. It is accessible, yet intimate. The second paradox of Tsuboki face massage is that, as we know, face massage is extremely relaxing. I often have clients falling asleep during it. And yet clients report feeling energized and alert after the massage. My theory is it is because we work all of the yang meridians. Those are the ones that pass through the face, and these are the more energizing, more stimulating meridians. So we have the perfect balance. Tsuboki face massage is relaxing yet energizing. So we're looking at a rejuvenating massage that's relaxing yet energizing, that makes you look good and therefore feel good, that makes you feel good and therefore look good. There's no need for the client to undress. There's no strain on the therapist. They can sit down to do this. What's not to like? So now we've completed all the theory, we can start to learn some practical techniques of Tsuboki Japanese face massage.